Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Today, we're going to be looking at Now That's What I Call Music 56, which was originally released November 2003. So just over 17 and a bit years old. Not quite 18. So still technically a minor. But we kick things off with a major success. In terms of stats, this, which I'm sure you know, Black Eyed Peas, Where Is the Love? Over half a billion views, 527 million. Wow, that's what we call a big classic. Chorus written by Justin Timberlake, who's been really shining in the last couple of nows, at the top of his game. And this introduces Black Eyed Peas, Fergie and will.i.am and crew, who'd go on to lots more. I'm sure we'll be coming back to them over the next few years. So this is a pretty striking opening, a pretty good opening. And I've been watching back a lot of my videos, just sort of thinking, how do they come across? My observations meaningful and useful and relevant? Or am I just talking shit? You tell me what you think. The point of it all, and it really wasn't premeditated. I didn't sit down beforehand and decide I was going to do this. So the point has kind of been developed on the fly. And it is really to track down the songs like this, the real pop culture classics that no matter what kind of music people like, whatever their own genre or their own scene is, no matter how old they are, whatever demographic, whatever gender, just something about the music transcends that. And I think this is a great example of a really good pop song that everyone can relate to. Yeah, it kind of comes from the world of rap, I suppose, and hip-hop, but it's gone way beyond that. Now, one thing I've talked about a lot, particularly with the year 2003, is what I call corporate pop. And I've been struggling myself to work out exactly what the difference between, say, a good commercial pop song and sort of horrendous corporate pop is. And I think, I don't have any hard and fast answers, and I'm working it out as we go along. And it's a question that I'm now throwing into the mix. Where does a good commercial song curdle into corporate crap? I think, for example, the Counting Crows version of Big Yellow Taxi, that definitely jumped the corporate shark for me. And all the TV stuff as well. What exactly is my problem with corporate music? One thing I would say is it's not just me. I was thinking back to Eminem lyrics. I've been sent here to destroy you, all these girl and boy bands. So even Eminem, who's got a very different demographic from me, bearing in mind he's from Detroit, he felt the need that he had to destroy all these girl and boy bands or whatever. So it's something fairly universal. They do arouse a lot of antagonism in people. I'm not the only one who thinks it. I think the difference is when it's done by committee and when it gets to the point of stifling out all the soul and creativity and kind of feeling of a song. And I think we're going to find that in this album quite a bit. But this opener, I think, is a good textbook example of good pop, where there's still heart, there's still soul, there's still feeling. Yeah, sure, it might have a big budget, might have lots of guys in suits kind of organising a distribution of it. But it is kernel, it is heart, it's got soul. And that's really, really what I think makes the difference, is deep down in the heart of the song, does it have a bit of soul and a bit of humanity? If it does, then yeah, sure, it can be corporatised and sort of commercialised, for better or worse. But if it doesn't even have that soul in the beginning of it, then it's a non-starter. So there we go. Black Eyed Peas kicking things off with a textbook example of good pop. Okay, maybe slightly less successful, and I'll stick it on because why not? It's Rachel Stevens, who was, of course, one of the S Club lot. I don't quite know what had happened by this point, whether they'd split up or they'd changed their maths or whatever. I didn't really keep up with their inner workings, I must admit. The reason I'm playing this song, Rachel Stevens, Sweet Dreams, my LAX. No, it's not so I can ogle at her in the video. That's just a happy accident. The reason I'm playing it is because it's actually written by Kathy Dennis, who I've talked about before. In fact, she even appeared on a few of these nows back in the late 80s and early 90s. Way back on now 16, I think, with D-Mob. She made her appearance, and she'd go on to write an awful lot of songs, including Kylie, Can't Get You Out of My Head. This is another of her compositions. It's not too bad, actually, considering it comes from Yes Club stable. It's got a kind of swing beat, and oh my gosh, it's certainly a nice video, but there we go. Yeah, where was I? Right, Kylie, slow. Slightly different sonics from her now. It's quite electronica, really, and it's quite sort of daring, I suppose. It's just a bit lacking in the song, like a lot of the Kylie stuff. Actually, when you break it down, the songs aren't all that. I'd love to. I wish Kathy Dennis had written more for her. I'll probably find out she wrote slow now, because it does seem like when Kylie had good songwriting, it would really work. And with shitty songwriting, there's kind of nothing there. I'm just going to check who wrote it now, because if it is Kathy Dennis, I look stupid. Mind you, even a good songwriter can come out with the odd duff one. Right. No, it was actually written by Kylie herself, Dan Carey, and Emiliana Torrini. I've got something by Emiliana Torrini called Unemployed in Summertime. It's way better. Anyway, it's okay. It's not too bad. It's just a bit lacking in the song. Right. That is followed by Guilty by Blue, which is a bit meh, really. I've given Blue the benefit of a doubt, but this one's a bit drippy. Okay. Something that's definitely not drippy, it might be lots of things, but it's not drippy, is Fat Man Scoop and the Crooklyn Clan, Be Faithful. He's almost like the kind of hip-hop version of the guy from Scooter. He's just an MC, he's just a host, he's a hype man. He's not really there to provide kind of lyrical genius, or even to sing, he just shouts. But he's got a bit of gusto, and it's more of a party song, really. If you had a few drinks and Fat Man Scoop shouting at you, you'd probably start jumping around. So, it's fit for purpose. It's party hip-hop, really. Now we come back to all-time pop classics, and I'm going to see what the stats are for this one. It's Beyoncé, still featuring Jay-Z, but the balance of power seems to have shifted from Jay-Z featuring Beyoncé to Beyoncé featuring Jay-Z now. It's another marathon, 475 million views, 500 million. This is an all-time classic, really. I'm sure we all know this one. Yet again, what separates it, it's got a decent song, great vocals, it's got all the kind of beats and stuff, almost quite tribally. Let me tell you where this comes from, because it is based on a sample. Certainly the percussion element is. The Kylites, I love the Kylites. Are You My Woman? They've been appropriated here, there, and everywhere, really. Yeah, great stuff. This song, really, it's still classic, really good party song, and it's obviously still really popular. So good stuff. Okay, Hole in the Head by Sugar Babes. They've actually got better drum programming, as you know if you've watched my last few. I've railed against the sound of the snare drums on Sugar Babes songs, as one does. They actually get a fairly good beat on this one. It's a bit more up-tempo. It's maybe not that well known, but it's not too bad. Okay, Jump In, Liberty X. It's kind of okay. It's just so 2003. Camellia Superstar's not too bad, actually. It's a bit more kind of like this one. It's actually got a bit more almost grit to the beats. Lumidee and Never Leave You. Oooh. Did anyone ever listen to that from 2004 onwards? No, she really can't sing. She's got an appalling voice. It's a racket. Stacey Orico, Stuck. Another one that's totally stuck in 2003. Just not listened to. Really dated the minute it came out, really. So yeah, that's that. Okay, now, did this guy come from TV or not? I'm going to check out his background because I don't associate him with TV, but he might well have done. It's Lamar and Dance With You, which is quite a sort of 70s throwback, really. And if he did come from a TV show, but it does just show that there are exceptions to the rule. Yeah, he actually came third on Fame Academy, but I think maybe he might have lost the battle to David Snedden, who won it, but I'm sure he won the war. He certainly won a load of Brits Awards and Mobile Awards and stuff. We'll come on to his very, very best song when it comes out. But Lamar had a bit of class to him. So yeah, good stuff. And that is followed by Kaveen, Surrender. Another one that's really just totally obscure, totally forgotten. You see, the thing is about like really good pop stuff, the stuff that transcends, like Black Eyed Peas, is that even if you weren't around at the time, even if you don't remember it, you'd hear it and you'd latch onto it. A lot of this stuff, like Kaveen, if you were like 15 in November 2003, you might possibly remember it. But if you missed it, you would never ever come back to it. Do you see what I mean? Does that make sense? It's not got any lasting appeal. It might possibly have kind of good memories for about 500 people who remember it. But what we're looking at are the songs that are beyond the scene, they're beyond the era, they're wider, and more successful. Now, Emma Bunton, just called Emma now, she's not really done anything I've liked since leaving the Spice Girls, but you know, I try and be open-minded, try and judge stuff on its musical qualities. Maybe it's actually a really, really good song. It's quite 60s-ish away, almost kind of bossa nova-y. It's a good experiment for someone as bland as Emma, and she does it really well. So yeah, fair play. Okay, S Club 8, Sundown, yeah, whatever. Okay, more Scouse House now from Ultra Beat, actual Scousers, I believe, and Pretty Green Eyes. Loads and loads of mixes of that, like Happy Hardcore and Donk and stuff. The one on the now is pretty pedestrian. It's one of the worst mixes of it, really. But it certainly had an impact on club culture throughout the kind of 2000s, really. Kept coming back in different remixes. Okay, Sophie Ellis-Bextor, Mixed Up World. Like a lot of Sophie's stuff, it's very classy, very sophisticated, kind of house with a kind of a bit more, well, disco-y house with good vocal on it, good lyrics. Not one of her most famous, but it's kind of a bit of a return to form. Fix, Hold On Me. What on earth was that? I've totally forgotten that one. Does anyone out there remember Fix, Hold On Me? I think it was some third division boy band. Okay, D-Side, who are not from North Wales, as the name might suggest, are actually from Ireland, and Invisible, which is a song about if I could be invisible, I'd go in your room and watch you. Interesting. Yeah, make of that what you will. Okay, Pandora's Kiss by Louise. She's still here, won't go away, will she? Like the proverbial bad penny. Atomic Kitten, they won't go away either, will they? They're still going on. And someone who definitely won't go away is Mr. Elton John. Now, this is a weird one. This is an old 70s song that was re-released. I'm not quite sure why. It was a 1979 song. It's called Are You Ready for Love? And it probably did way better in 2003 than it actually did when it first came out in 79. We kind of forget that Elton had a really rough spell in the late 70s. If you want to hear something interesting, that's one way of calling it, listen to his Victim of Love album, which was done with all Moroder's people. Not Moroder himself, but Keith Forsey was on drums, Pete Bellotti produced it. It's Elton Goes Disco, but apparently he didn't have anything to do with it apart from just singing the vocals. And it's even got a kind of disco version of Johnny B. Good, and it sounds like it kind of like been interrupted from some coke session, spent an hour doing the vocals and then went back to it. This song's a bit more sophisticated, but it's from that kind of era where Elton was struggling to really find his feet before he really came back again in the early 80s. And yeah, for some reason it was a really big hit in 2003. Fair play. Okay, we follow this with another good one from Justin Timberlake, Rock Your Body, well up to standard, got the live drums in it, which I think really gives his stuff an edge, and a bit of sweat and a bit of funk. So yep, good stuff. I think it's got some human beatbox on there as well, so that's pretty cool. Okay, Robbie's back. He's done something stupid with Nicole Kidman. Now he's doing something beautiful, and yeah, it's pretty beautiful. He's not really put a foot wrong for ages and ages, Robbie. I keep waiting for him to screw up, but he hasn't yet, so good stuff. Oh my gosh, it's Nickelback. But, you know, apart from being pretty much a note-for-note clone of How You Remind Me, Some days not that bad. One day maybe we will reappraise Nickelback and go, were they really that bad? But I don't think we're quite there yet. I still think we're in kind of shock from the Nickelback thing. It's more of a meme thing, isn't it? It's just almost like they've become bad because they've become bad, if that makes sense. I don't think they're really that bad. But then they're not that great either. Okay, Busted, Sleeping with a Light On. They're kind of like the English Nickelback in a way, aren't they? No, they're probably more popular. That's the funny thing. Busted are probably more acclaimed than Nickelback. Sleeping with a Light On is adequate. It's just like all their stuff. It's sort of diluted. It's just totally like anodyne and lacking an edge. Now, a surprising one with edge is Mark Owen. I'll play this one. Because the guys from Take That really not done a lot other than Robbie. When we look at how all the Spice Girls have sort of released songs every 2 seconds, and they're kind of fighting each other to get the headlines, Robbie has kind of dominated the post-Take That thing, and it takes Mark Owen to actually come up with something that gives Robbie a run for his money. Even more striking is the song about the end of the world and apocalypse and stuff, which is really not what you'd expect from the guys who, let's remember, started their career with the Dire, It Only Takes a Minute. And it's interesting that the guys from Take That have gone into more rock and indie stuff. I think that says something, you know. And let's also not forget that years later from here, Take That would have a major comeback. We've not got yet there on the timeline, so I'm not really referring to it at this point. But in 2003, here's Mark Owen with a 4-minute warning. I think each verse looks at a different person, and it asks what would you do if you only had 4 years left, which is a great conceit for. Sorry, did I say 4 years? 4 minutes left. I think that's a great conceit for a lyric. Okay, Under the Thumb, Amy Stood. She's someone whose music I don't think transcends. I could be wrong, but I can't see any males liking her music. It's so female. It's so female. And it's good that we've got female singer-songwriters, but I want to be able to relate to them. I want their stuff to transcend just being female. With Amy, Under the Thumb, it's literally for girls only. If you're a guy, if you're a male, and you actually get off on listening to it, I'd love to know why. What is it about it? I just, to me, it's like being in a girl's changing room. It's like when I'm listening to it, I'm like, I shouldn't really be here. Now, here's a real disappointment. Because I've raved about Texas and I've liked almost everything they've ever done. But Carnival Girl is horrendous. It's another custard and mustard one. We've had them before. Two things that shouldn't go together and just don't go together. Maybe if it had been done better it might have done. But Cardinal Official... I get it. Official. Cardinal Official. Massacres. He does this horrible rap. Texas do not want rap on their music. Well, I'm not saying I want it. It doesn't work. Texas and rap just don't go together. I like good rap. I love good Texas, but I don't want them on the same plate. Carnival Girl's horrible. Okay, 50 Cent featuring Nate Dogg. I just put a sarky comment on YouTube because someone said that had the best hook in the history of music. And I was like, what? This tuneless wine? You seriously think there's a better hook than Stevie Wonder, James Brown, Queen, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Bob Marley? It's no accounting for taste. It's nowhere near as good, in my opinion, as In the Club. It's just very meh. Nothing really to like about it. Hip hop by numbers. I think 50 Cent was probably getting more into CPUs and processors, where he could invest his money by this point and actually making good music. A Shanty, Rock With You, or Baby. Not too bad, not too great. Ditto, Pump It Up, Joe Budden. And also Complete. Actually, no, Complete slightly different, but Pump It Up and Joe Budden, by both Joe Budden and Ashanti, Rock With You. This is a sort of ephemeral R&B that's just got no lasting value. It's all well produced, but there's nothing lasting about it. It's got no soul. It's just posy shit. Jamieson is kind of very poppy drum and bass, but it's ruined by abysmal vocals. Really bad. That's Complete. At least Lisa Scott-Lee can sing. The music's not all that. That's Too Far Gone. It's not too bad. Angel City, Love Me Right's okay, but it sounds like a bit of a throwback to the 90s. It doesn't sound very noughties. It really sounds about 5 or 10 years out of date. but it's okay. House stuff, really. Richard X is back with Kellis and Finest Dreams, which is basically the SOS band of the Finest mixed up with a really random Human League song. He loves the Human League, doesn't he? But he's not adding anything to what they'd already done. He's only massacring their stuff. There's really no need for it. And that's followed by... I'll play this one, actually. This is not too bad. It's they're becoming like a regular occurrence now. A bit of Bangra. We've had a few now, and I'm normally a big fan of them. This is a whole posse of people. It's Jay Sean and Richie Rich and Juggy D, and it's called Dance With You. Yeah, it's kind of where Bangra meets kind of R&B, really. And it's a bit more... Oh, apparently the video was shot in Feltham Shopping Centre in West London. Yeah, I find the Bangra influence gives it something of a bit more resonance and a bit more lasting value. It's 2020 and there's a coronavirus pandemic sweeping a planet, but I'm listening to this. So am I. Someone's listening in India. Someone's listening in Germany. So yeah, not bad at all. Elevated by the Bangra element, in my opinion. Good stuff. Okay, now a song that was last on a now for China Black and Ladysmith Black Mambazo. It always means there's a rugby tournament when it comes out. It's Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. This time it's UB40, veterans of the Now series ever since Now 1, featuring the United Colours of Sound. And you can't really go wrong with a song like Swing Low. It's such an anthemic song. It's not really maybe UB40 at their best, but it's certainly a good sing-along. It's actually an old spiritual song that dates from like the early 1900s, so it's definitely an old song, and it always seems to work when it comes back. Next up, we've got Star Sailor and Silence Is Easy. Not too bad, actually. This is a bit more post-Britpop, sounding a bit like the Doves or someone like that. Stereophonics are back with another good song, Maybe Tomorrow. Now, funnily enough, Maybe Tomorrow was the name of an old UB40 song, but it's not theirs. It's a different song, and it's pretty good. Daniel Bedingfield, Never Gonna Leave Your Side. He's back in ballad mode. It's not all that. I prefer his faster stuff. Now, here's an interesting one, and in fact, just this morning, I saw a really good clip. I'm going to recommend it. It was on Facebook. It was Kurt Smith from Tears for Fears and his young daughter, and they did a duet, just acoustically from their home, because they're both obviously on lockdown, and they decided to do a version of Mad World, and it was absolutely gorgeous. It's really good. This was literally this morning on YouTube. On Facebook. Check it out. Just look up Kurt Smith, Mad World, and his daughter. You know what I'm talking about, that? What was the biggest film or one of the most successful films of 2003? Yeah, Donnie Darko, with this incredible version. Yeah, was this the Christmas number one? It was, actually, yeah. Christmas number one for 2003. And it's an exceptional version of an exceptional song. This is one that I play on keyboards with my singer friend. And she actually sings it amazingly. It's really beautiful. I play just kind of acoustic piano on it. More like this one than the Tears for Fears one, to be honest. Kind of halfway between the two. So it's a very good song to play. And Gary Jules obviously had a lot of fun with it. Fun enough, it's actually Michael Andrews featuring Gary Jules. Although Gary Jules is always the one who gets all the kind of applause for it. So yeah, good way to end this album then. Let's go through it. It's had some ephemeral stuff, but it's also had some real lasting classics. Kicking off with Where Is the Love, Black Eyed Peas. They would go downhill, but this was them at their height. Rachel Stevens' Sweet Dreams is above average for its genre, but it's not particularly well remembered, I don't think. Be Faithful by Fat Man Scoop, that's quite a good party hip-hop song. Crazy in Love, Beyoncé, absolutely, probably one of the biggest on the album. What else we got? Dance With You, Lamar, still sounds pretty good. Pretty Green Eyes had quite a big club impact, Ultra Beat. Then there's a lot that don't go through. Are You Ready for Love, Elton, probably had more impact now than it did when it first came out. Rock Your Body, Justin Timberlake, yep. Robbie, Something Beautiful. Maybe Semi someday, Nickelback, but it's Nickelback. Underrated, Mark Owen, 4 Minute Warning. Overrated, Texas, Carnival Girl, featuring Cardinal Shite. Sorry, mate, but you ruined a Texas song there. Then in terms of classics, I mean, Swing Low is a kind of perennial one, but it's not really associated with UB40. I think Star Sailor, Silence is Easy, is kind of an indie, almost classic. And this is a classic version that's up there with the Tears for Fears one, Mad World. So we've got through the year 2003, and I hope I can demonstrate what I mean now about the difference between corporate shite and a really good commercial pop song. It's about heart, and it's about soul, and it's about feeling, and it's all about the kernel of the song. And I think this example here shows that, you know, you can take the kernel of the song, Mad World, and you can put it in very, very different ways. And I think that's what's really interesting. If you've got that original song there at the beginning, then you won't go wrong wherever you take it, unless you're counting Crows doing Big Yellow Taxi. But that's just a one-off, particularly shit song. Do you know, actually, I did some research after I'd made my comments, and I found it's been voted one of the worst songs of the 2000s. A lot of people agree with me. It's well renowned as being shit, and I didn't know that when I said that. Okay, everyone, we'll be back in the year 2004 next time with Now That's Local Music 57. See you later, everyone. Bye.